Let me remind you about Buckeye State Credit Union. If you haven't heard of them yet, meet your new favorite financial partner. Buckeye State Credit Union is a local institution offering everything from checking accounts to home equity lines of credit and auto loans with some of the lowest rates in Northeast Ohio. Their Cleveland branch is in Shaker Heights, which is one of 5 locations across the state, making it super easy to find one near you. And if you can't get to a branch, no problem. They make it super simple through digital banking. What sets them apart? They make banking personal and convenient. At Buckeye, their focus is you. Their core values, connect, simply, adapt, guide everything they do. They bring people together, cut through the clutter, and are innovative. To learn more, visit buckeyecu.org. Buckeye State Credit Union, your money simplified.
All right, guys, let's start with a little Guardians talk today. The Guards fell to the Blue Jays 10-6 last night. It was only the second time in the entire month of June the Guardians scored more than 4 runs, Jason, which is hard to fathom because it is June 25th, and this is just the second time they've scored more than 2 runs. It was a so-so, if not on the bad end of so-so, start from Logan Allen. But the bats, once again, Jason, came up too little too late for the Guardians to be able to salvage a win.
Well, you had a chance until the 8th.
We're saying the same things every day at this point. I'm tired of watching the platoons. I'm tired of watching Jonathan Rodriguez in the lineup.
That error was so bad.
Two errors on the same play. I don't know what it's going to take for Chase DeLauder or CJ Kafis to come up. I don't know that they're going to solve everything, but I think we've seen enough. Center field is a black hole. Right field is a black hole right now. Lane Thomas had the home run yesterday, but he's been just awful.
His OPS is sub-5.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how long you can hang in with platoons when the platoons aren't working. And I know he had the homer yesterday, but I would like to see the best players on the team on the field every day. That's all. I don't know why that's such an outlandish thing to say right now. So Kafis is mashing. I think he homered again last night.
Grand slam.
DeLauder's playing well. Yes, he may get hurt again, but let him get hurt in Cleveland rather than Columbus if it's going to happen again. This team, I really don't think this team is that far away. I know what the standings say, but if they can just the pitching staff is rounding into form. If they can just find a couple more guys who can give them consistent at-bats, they're still in this in terms of the wild card. Then you get Bieber back and anything's possible.
Can I give you some stats real quick on Kafis and DeLauder?
Yeah.
Because to me, the big takeaway is we need those guys up there. At some point, you need them up there. In 63 games in AAA this year, or in the minors this year, Kafis has 32 extra base hits. 32 extra base hits, 63 games. Since the start of last year, Kafis has played in 170 minor league games. He has 81 extra base hits.
Jeez.
81 in 170 games. He's hitting 322 this season. His OPS in AAA is 972. He's got 9 homers and 38 RBIs. He deserves a chance to see if he can do this on the major league level. If you look at DeLauder, he has a 24-game on-base streak in his last 13 games. He's hitting 400 in 13 games, Jason. He's 18 of 45 with 3 doubles, a triple, 2 homers, and 11 ribbies. What more do you need to see?
Yeah, it's and listen, they could come up here and struggle and be right back down in 3 weeks. That's entirely possible. But it just feels like we need to get to that point so that if you get the struggles out of the way almost, so that they know what they need to work on, so that they sort of see where they're at. One of the issues is they're all left-handed. I think if some of these guys were right-handed, it would be a little bit different. But, Nolan Jones is finally starting to come around a little bit. His numbers have been better lately. His StatCast numbers have been great all year, and now you're starting to bear the fruit of that a little bit. But he's out of options, so I mean, I'd be fine with him. First of all, I thought Stephen Kwan should have been moved to center field 2 years ago. I don't care that he's elite in left field and wins Gold Gloves. If you win Gold Gloves, I do care. I shouldn't say that. Of course you care. But if you are that good of a defender in left field, obviously you can handle center too. If you put Kwan in center field and open up the corner spots for guys like DeLauder, Kafis, and Nolan Jones, it feels like it's a little bit better of a fit, but they aren't going to do that. They haven't done it to this point. They're not going to do it. Kwan clearly is comfortable in left. They're going to leave him in left. Jones is passable in center that we've seen to this point, but right field has just been atrocious from an offensive standpoint. So I just would like to see the best hitters in the lineup every day. That includes Kyle Manzardo. That may or may not include Chase DeLauder or CJ Kafis. We won't know until they get up there and get the opportunity. But one of them needs to be here.
Zach Meisel wrote an article the other day that I thought made the best point that no one's talked about in terms of DeLauder yet. He's been hurt a lot throughout his minor league career.
Yeah.
Got hurt coming out of college. He still hasn't played 4 games in a row at any point in the minor leagues. Well, with the platoon the guards do, they don't need him to play 4 games in a row, right? Like, you could play him 1 or 2 games, give him his natural rest day, so he's not playing and putting that extra strain on whether it's the foot, the lower body. He had a shoulder injury at some point. Like, they have those built-in rest days for him already. So it makes perfect sense if you call him up and you're worried about, will he get enough at-bats? Do we have a spot for him in the lineup every day? He's not a guy that needs 7 days in the lineup each week. He's a guy that needs 2 day off, 3 day off, which fits right into the platoon system that Stephen Vogt likes to operate under anyway.
That depends on when the lefty's coming up in terms of when the day off, if you want to structure it that way. But they have enough optionality, to your point. They have enough versatility. If it's a right-hander up and you want to sit Chase, you can. You can put Nolan in left or and right. You have other lefties or whatever. Because I don't think Nolan Jones is going anywhere. That's not the guy in jeopardy, I wouldn't think, just because he's out of options. And they traded for him. They gave up someone in Tyler Freeman for him, and he has been coming around these last few weeks. But there's certainly other candidates on the roster. I mean, Jonathan Rodriguez, I've seen enough. I saw enough before he even came up. He certainly looks the type of a 4A player, and it's time to give the young guys a chance.
Are you ready for
Are we kidding ourselves that this team can actually be something, though? I mean, you're like, you say it, you're like, yeah, we'll see, Beaver gets out,
I think
they're kind of just mid, man.
They are right now, for sure. The way that I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago, I think the way teams are approaching this is just get in and get hot at the right time. So what the Pacers did. The Pacers were mid at this point in the NBA season, and you get hot at the right time, and the Guardians pitching will allow them that opportunity to get hot at the right time because it's going to keep them in it. Bieber, obviously, everyone knows what Shane will be. I think he'll be back probably within a month, I would think. Probably around mid to end of July after the All-Star break, certainly. And Williams seems to be starting to figure it out and put some things together. Bybee has been up and down, but I've always believed in Tanner Bybee, and I just think they have a front of the rotation that's going to keep them in it more so than, when they made the trade a couple years ago when they were a couple games out and they traded Savali and they sort of pulled the cord on that. I agreed with that because that, to me, felt like a team that was going nowhere. And that was a really good trade because you traded a lesser for a better. And that was a move you couldn't make in April or in September. It was only at the trade deadline you're going to be able to make that move. Because of where the pitching is trending in the right direction with this team. Because of where their pitching is, it's going to keep them in games, even in postseason games. And you just got to get hot at the right time. And, yeah, I know at the end of June, I've said it before, it's hard to watch their games sometimes. It's just hard to get through the game. It's just they're boring. But I still believe in this team. I believe in the pitching staff for sure. And if they can just tweak a couple of spots in the lineup, they'll give themselves an opportunity. I'm not going to sit here and tell you they're going to win the World Series. They're the favorites. They're not. But they'll give themselves an opportunity in October.
I think you guys are both right. I think Dustin's right that overall this team is basically mid. The record shows that they're 39 and 38. They're one game above 500, which is about as mid as it gets.
Yeah.
The lineup does not scare anybody. You have Jose and you have a bunch of guys that don't really put a ton of fear inside the other pitchers in mind. I mean, Kwan's a great hitter, but he's not a home run threat. But
if you're a casual baseball fan like me who doesn't watch live and die with every pitch, I mean, I'm watching guys that I've never heard of in the lineup.
There's a lot of them. And they take
a lot of them.
A lot of bad at-bats. But to Jason's point, they do have the pitching if Bieber is Bieber, if Bobby can get consistent. Gavin Williams does have front end of rotation, playoff caliber stuff. Saccone's been really good in some limited starts. Ortiz has had some really high highs and some low lows. And if your pitching rounds into form come the end of September, end of August into September, then into the playoffs, we just saw the Diamondbacks 2 years ago make the MLB World Series with a lineup that is better than the one the Guardians are putting out now, but it certainly wasn't loaded top to bottom with Judges and Otanis and guys like that. Their pitching just got hot at the right time, which is what you have to hope for if you're a Cleveland fan.
And obviously the bullpen. Gaddis gave it up last night, but for the most part, this bullpen has been tremendous again. You're going to rely heavily on that bullpen again. I just think they have the mix on the pitching side, which is so hard for teams. We talked about it before. If they, and it looks like they have, if they've turned a bad contract in Jimenez, which, they're the ones that gave it to him, so you got to wear some responsibility for that. But if you turn a bad contract in Jimenez and 1 year control in Josh Naylor, into 2 starting pitchers that you're going to have control of for the next 5 or 6 years, that's a win, because starting pitching is so hard to find in baseball. And what we've seen so far of Ciccone, although I was reading some stuff, I think his numbers are better than his stuff has indicated to this point. He's maybe getting a little bit lucky. But still, I had no expectations for Slade Ciccone coming into this year. So he's already outperformed what I thought, because I just didn't have a real high bar on him. Luis Ortiz, I did have some expectations for. He's had some great moments. He's had some meh moments along the way. But again, to turn a bad contract and 1 year control of out-of-shape first baseman into 2 starting controllable pitchers, this organization is excellent at what they do. Now they just need it's just 1 or 2 bats. It's not even like, I really don't even think it's as far off as it seems. It's just 1 or 2 bats. If they can plug those in, they will be right there in October and give themselves an opportunity.
Well, you turn 2 black holes into 2, maybe not all-star caliber bats, but 2 bats that you could count on to give you something throughout a game, not automatic outs. You mentioned Hunter Gaddis, though, and I know last night he gave up the grand slam. I went back and was doing some looking. Since mid-May, and this was his line from last night, but if you go back over his last 13 appearances, Jason, he has not been the Hunter Gaddis we had seen and come to appreciate in that all-star caliber setup man role. He's given up 15 hits in 13 innings, 6 earned run as ERAs in the 4s.
Yeah.
14 strikeouts in 13 innings is not bad. Anything over 1 strikeout per inning is good, but for Gaddis, that's a pretty significant drop from where he'd been in the past. Do you have any concerns with what you've seen from Gaddis, or is this just a middle-of-the-season mini-slump?
Not yet. It's end of June. If it's August and we're still having this conversation, then I think we can be a little bit more concerned. But relievers are going to go through patches like this. We've seen it with Clase at times as well. Even the very best guys, mechanics get out of whack, whatever. The margins for relievers are so small because you're only getting, 5, 6, 7 batters a game at max that. So if you miss your spot 1 or 2 times, it's going to show a lot more than it is if a starter does that. And, starters have an opportunity to settle in and all that. These guys don't. So I'm not concerned about him yet. But let's check back in a month, 6 weeks, and see if those numbers still look like that.
Dustin, as we get ready for these final 2 games against the Blue Jays, and I know you're not a diehard baseball fan, but what was it like seeing Jimenez last night in a different team's uniform back here at Progressive Field?
It's a little odd. It's always odd when you see a player that was impactful for your team, has done stuff in the postseason, and then you see him with another club. It's I don't know. What was the sentiment on X last night? I wasn't on during the game.
He got applause.
Yeah.
I think everyone still appreciates Jimenez. His defense, once again, last night, Jason, was stupid. He makes really, 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 really difficult plays look like they're a can of corn. The play he made with the backhand stop going up the middle to throw, I forget who he threw out, but that's not an easy play. He made it by 5 steps.
He should be a shortstop. Second base is important. I think he's wasted a little bit at second. I wonder if Toronto's married to him now with this contract, although they have more financial flexibility than a team like the Guardians. But Bichette's in the last year of his deal. We'll see if he goes back to Toronto or not. If Bichette leaves, I wonder if they'll shift Jimenez over to short, because he is so phenomenal defensively. That's the most important position, or one of the primary positions defensively on the field. That's where I think he should be. And this just tells you his athleticism. I think I've mentioned this before on the show. He is naturally left-handed. He taught himself to throw right-handed because he loves catching growing up as a kid, and you can't be a left-handed catcher. So he taught himself to throw. That's how immensely.
That's absurd.
Think about that. He taught himself to throw right-handed. He's naturally left-handed.
I can't even brush my teeth right-handed.
He taught himself to play right-handed so that he could catch as a kid, because he just loved to catch so much. He's just one of those freaking natures athletically.
Why is he not a switch hitter then?
Well, because he only worked on throwing from the right.
True.
So, I don't know.
Maybe he should have worked on the other side.
Yeah.
Could have. Certainly helped him out. Who's the pitching matchup tonight? Do you know, Jason?
Gavin and is it Scherzer coming off the DL?
Oh, it is Scherzer.
DIO?
We had Brandon Iwasco yesterday, the host of the Locked On Guardians podcast, come on, and he basically said if the Blue Jays get anything from Scherzer, it's a win. Like anything at all.
Is that guy still making like $25 million a year?
No, I can't remember how they got him now. I don't remember if if there was a trade or free agent signing.
I'll look it up real
I don't
quick.
remember. I mean, he's obviously at the end of his career. It's been
Right.
a remarkable career.
Oh, yeah.
But he's barely pitched at all. Did that say 3 innings for the year? I didn't think it was. He got hurt in his first start.
I think that's minor league stats this year. I don't think he's pitched yet in the majors.
I thought he did.
Oh, he's 3 innings on this. Yep.
Yeah.
March 29th got hurt his first start.
Okay. I thought he pitched a little bit more than that early in the year.
Nope. 3 innings, 3 hits, 2 runs against the Baltimore Orioles.
So, I mean, yeah, obviously a veteran, tremendous in his day, but clearly at the end of his rope, and hopefully the Guardians can jump on him early.
43rd round pick. Also, he's making $15 million this year.
It's not bad for 3 innings.
What's he got left on his contract? Is it 1 year?
1 year deal.
Yeah.